Hi, Rhonda.
Hey, Charles. Hello, gentlemen.
Hi there.
Hello. Thanks for being patient, John. You were in before me, but my recording system wasn't working right, and so I didn't want to come in and get everything confused. Thank you. You have to be patient today. My computer got killed by Microsoft last week. I'm doing everything on a tablet. It's not as comfortable and things don't work as they normally would. Excuse me for that from the beginning, but we'll make sure. Charles and I were on a call this morning and we got everything to work. So thank you for bearing with us while we get this organized. So nice to see both of you. Wonderful. So, and Eliza said she would like to come. And is it pronounced Odalie, Charles?
I haven't got a list. Let me have
Oh, you
a
haven't
look.
got a list. It's Odile. Do you know this person? Philip?
Odile.
Odile. Okay.
No, I don't.
She tried to come in yesterday.
Okay.
But probably just trying out the system.
Yeah.
All right.
The intention is there, but the execution.
Yeah. Okay. Annalisa was really enthusiastic about this the last time we did it, so I hope she can join us as well. She was one of the reasons why we're all here today. It was her good idea that we continue doing this and have more going on. So we will, though, get started with the nice gentlemen who are here. Thank you so much for coming and being on time. And we are starting out just with sort of an overview of where you are at the moment as far as AI is concerned and where you are as far as connecting that with your values, because what we're here to do today is just make sure that we get a chance to maybe look at a new tool or something you're not so familiar with, and then talk though more about how do we actually connect that with our values and what are we doing with AI going forward to make sure that we're not only learning all these hundreds and thousands of tools that there are, but also having the opportunity to see how we're going to use them in the best way possible. So David, you're off mute. Why don't you start and tell us where you are with AI at the moment, what you're interested in, and how you're using that and connecting that with your values.
Thank you. Yes, not heavily using AI at the moment, but I can see obviously opportunities where AI can be used as a force for good, as a complement of human good, not something that is negatively impacting human good, which comes back to ethics and governance. So obviously ethics and values, ethics and governance are critical into the build of AI, but they're also critical in how we run companies full stop. Just as we went into, industrial revolution, into automation through robotics, obviously there's a number of ways you can do that, but world-class companies have done it through an ethical process, where they remove the voluminous repetitive tasks through automation, not to sack staff, but to release them from those mundane tasks, because humans are far more capable and innovative to do far better and greater things. But that's an ethical positioning, that's a governance issue, that's a values issue, and obviously we're now at the same position where AI is coming in to do a similar thing, but on more of a services level rather than a product level, more of a service level. And of course, it's got more risk of being used in the wrong ways as well. So my interest is, I'm interested in the development of governance, of the development of purpose-driven organizations which are ethically focused, and how that gets built into communities, into business, and into government. And also, obviously, my interest in AI is how AI will blend into that governance to become something that can be used to release human capacity to flourish rather than to destroy or to negate that possibility. So it's on a watch point. I can see a lot of opportunity in the work that I'm doing where AI could be supported and developed, but I'm not yet deploying.
Okay. Wonderful. Thank you very much for your thoughts. John, let's hear from you and see where you are.
Hi. Afternoon, folks. I am work for an organisation called Lighthouse. It's a suicide prevention charity. This is very timely because we're just reviewing our strategic plan. In my other life, I actually run a training and consultancy business and was senior assessor for investors and people for many, many years. Too many years, people might say. And Rhonda, I'm really interested in potential applications for AI, again, aligning to our core values in terms of accessibility, in terms of quality of service, in terms of excellence, right? And I guess very much a blank sheet of paper. I've used some AI tools to produce some training materials. In my other life, I've fallen foul of learners who have used AI to complete assignments. So back to David's point about governance, really important. So again, I am very, very interested in the whole topic.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Mark, you were here a moment ago, but I don't see your video anymore. Are you still with us? Ah.
Yes, I tried to make my setup working.
Oh, okay. All right. Can you do me a favor? I don't have your email address in my list. Could you put your email address in the chat for me so when I send out the information afterwards, I make sure you get everything?
Yes, sure.
Okay. And once you've done that, thank you very much. And once you've done that, then tell us about why you're here and what you're interested in AI and how that's working with your values.
So, values and value systems have been a great interest for me in the last decades, actually. So I continuously research. I always get back to that topic because it's just so fascinating. Well, with AI, we face challenges that are I think many of the challenges we even don't know that we are gonna have them. And so I wonder like how can we get our humanity the part of us that is the human part into AI so that AI is not gonna take away the human part of us. So and that is something that interests me. I've been experimenting a lot with AI agents for content creation, trying to infuse the value systems of people in there so that the results that the AI agents generate actually resemble the person that the AI agent is supposed to speak for or create content for. And well, that has worked really well, partially. And as the models are getting better, I think it's as the AI models are getting better and understanding more complex thoughts, or understanding a more complex way of reasoning. It's just there's no limit. I think that there will be some time where we will have a kind of digital clone of us in terms of value systems and worldviews, and we use that to control the agents to act in our ways. And and I'm very curious about what's going on. What are you doing? What are you experimenting with? What do you feel like? Where is everything heading, and what needs to happen? And that's why I'm here.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Charles, what would you like to add?
Yeah, I'd like to just say I'm sort of in the position of probably with David and John, being less knowledgeable about AI, but I've used it a little bit in tasks, just ChatGPT and so on. Nothing much more than that. But I'm conscious that AI is becoming more and more a feature of our lives. I want to be able to get to grips with it in a positive way. And I think looking at it through the lens of values makes sense to me, because I think we do clearly need to be positive about something that's going to impact our lives. We have no choice, actually. But I see no reason not to be positive. And I think it can and should enhance our lives. And it's up to us, after all. We're talking about a tool, not some foreign invader. We're talking about a tool that we can use to, make our lives better, and hopefully more values-based, values-driven, purposeful, and all of that. I just should say, I suspect Mark is, I put myself alongside David and John, because I suspect Mark is a little bit further along the road in finding out about AI. I think we are connected, aren't we, Mark, on LinkedIn, and I think we've met somewhere down along the line, and that's why we're connected. And I think, just looking quickly at your LinkedIn profile, if that's not a rude thing to do in public with you, but I think I noticed that you talked about AI coaching and so on, and actually that was a subject which has been coming up from friends of mine who are coaches quite a lot. But I think it's obviously of relevance to us all. So I mean, that's if you're asking me what area to explore, I'm not a coach. I don't intend to coach, but I see applications of having that alter ego somewhere down the road, probably not very far down the road, we're all moving.
That's right, Charles. Thank you all, gentlemen, for putting in where you're coming from on this. Just to let you know, to speak to a couple of the points that you've mentioned, in May, I was in Geneva at the AI for Good Summit, where the world talks about governments and ethics and all of those nice things that you mentioned before, David and John. So I was there live in Geneva, and I will be back next year in July. At the end, I will put a link in the chat where you can sign up for a group, and I will be putting all the links into all the things that we're talking about today, so you don't have to worry about that at the moment. But I was in Geneva, and it was absolutely fantastic to see what's happening. And one of the days where I did not attend, because it's by invitation only, is when all the government officials come and talk about governance. And this was the 7th AI convention, not the first one. So they've been doing this for quite some time. So if you sort of look at things and say, oh, the world is going to pieces, no, it's not. There are people who are actually doing things about this and taking care of it, and have been doing so for quite a time. The thing that we said, if we were in a group where people weren't so familiar yet with tools, we said we would open this up and show kind of a tool if somebody had something specific, either that they've never heard of, or they have a use case where they say, oh, it would be nice if I knew about something in AI that could do this or do that. Just to let you know, I am not an AI expert. I'm fascinated by the subject. I do communication all over the world, and for me, having the chance to integrate AI into what we do with human intelligence and what we do with natural intelligence, like bee swarms and fishes in schools and all of those things, is for me an important thing, that we're now going to have this triumvirate of different kinds of intelligence to work from. And that's where I'm coming from this. And that's why I went to Geneva, to actually see what's going on and speak to the people there who are at the forefront of these things. And there are some amazing things going on. But I know for many, many people I speak to, it's either I don't know anything about this, or just a very little, or the people on the other end whom I'm in contact with who are all hyped and they're all the experts and they know everything, but there's no place in the middle for us. People who know something about it, but not everything. People are curious, who are interested in making sure that we can make a bigger impact in the world by using this new intelligence that's being given to us. And as someone said before, a gentleman the other day said to me, well, Rhonda, I don't know if I want to use AI because it's so terrible. And I said, but you use the internet? And he said, of course I use the internet. It's wonderful. And I said, uh-huh. And I said, and are you in the dark net? No, Rhonda, I would never want anything to do with the dark net. I said, you might be surprised. I found out that I'm in the dark net, not because I wanted to be, but because somebody sold my information there. I said, and you'd be surprised at all the things that maybe you don't know. But the interesting thing is we can't just use the good things and say the internet is wonderful, but the darknet is there as well. It's the law of polarity. When you have the good things, you also have the not so good things. And I think it's important for us to be meeting here today. And this series will go on now, at least for a year. That's what we've set it up as, to get a good handle on this. AI is changing so quickly. Charles and I were on a call earlier this morning, and he asked about something, and we put something into a system, and it popped up a name of a system I had never heard of. And so every time you go online, you can always be coming up with things you've never heard of. It's moving that quickly. And so the question was today, is there some kind of a tool that anybody would like to just take a quick look at, or you have a use case where you'd say, I'd love to just get some insight into something. We just go in, we try it a little bit, and then we talk about how we can use that in our own lives and make sure that we're making the impact we want to make. Does anybody have either a name of a tool that I possibly know, or a use case where I can then share my screen and we can look at something? And if not, I have a list of 9. I had 10 this morning. We've done 1 already. Now I have 9 left on my list. But if you gentlemen have one that you're interested in and we'd like to look at that together, we can do that as well. I believe in co-creation. That's what we're here for.
Let's look at the 9.
Look at all of the 9. No, we'll pick one of the 9.
Yeah.
What are you interested in, John, from the 9? Tell me what kind of use case, or what are you interested in learning about? I'll just pick one.
I was interested in what Charles said earlier on about AI and coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder, is there one of the tools that the one that you didn't use, the one that you used this morning, don't include that, but is there one of the other tools?
Well, the tool that most people are using now to do this is they are building their own GTP.
Okay.
So instead of having ChatGPT and you go in there and you put in your things, there is a way you can go into there and build your own. And you only feed in the things that you know, and then it then acts as you would act, because it only draws on the things that you know about, to just put it in a very mild way.
Wow.
I can show you something, though, that doesn't do it in the coaching sense, but gives you a wonderful way to look at things in general. And this is something I use all the time since I found it. And I think it's something close to that, because I am not skilled enough to set up my own GPT, but I am skilled enough to do this, what I'm going to show you. So that's good. This is something that is from Google, based on Gemini, which is a parallel thing to ChatGPT, if you haven't heard of it before. And I'm just going to share my screen now, gentlemen, for a few minutes. And you will see this. And as I said, we will have notes for everything afterwards in the end. This is called Notebook LM. It's a Google product. So if you have something in Google, you can go in and do whatever it is. And it gives you introductions. But it also, and I'll just use this as an example, when you go in, you upload the sources that you would like it to use to speak from. So these were things that someone gave me and said, Rhonda, I need to know how to prepare for an interview. And this is all of the information that I have. His name was Simon. And this was information that we found on the internet about this. So we uploaded these 2 sources. And then when you go in and start asking questions about whatever it is, it then gives you answers. And for each answer, it saves it as a note. So it is doing what you had mentioned, John. It is actually using things that you put into it, not everything, just these things. And when you ask it the questions, it only references these sources. So it's not coaching in that sense, but it's using your input to then answer the questions that you have. Okay. Does that make sense, John?
You could input the contents of your website, for instance. Or
in my own, let me just go back. I was working on my strategy for next year with the gentleman in my company and I who do strategy together. And I put in a whole bunch of things. So I've got PDFs from my company. I've got the websites from my company. I've got websites from other companies that I like. And I put all of those things in there. And when I started asking questions, about all these different things, including something about this program, by the way, then it goes in and it tells me exactly which of these things it chose to use to give me the answer to what I was asking in the question. Okay, so the system works a lot like ChatGPT if you're using that, but because you're putting in your own input, and it is pulling on that input and showing you exactly where it's taking it from. So this is very personalized compared to what you would be getting if you're just going into ChatGPT and there it's doing whatever it's doing on its own and you don't know where it's coming from. Make sure you watch the video. They all come out from this morning. We talked about another source that also gives sources from the internet. This is using then your own personal sources to put this in. So as I said, I just wanted to do this, and when I give you the link to join our group, you will be getting all of these links and you'll be able to go in and check all those things out yourself. Okay. Does anyone have any questions about Notebook LM that I could answer at the moment? If you do, just unmute yourself and ask, please, because I can't see.
Just one question. Do you have to upload every single page of the websites, or can you just say this website in its entirety?
You just click on this where it's add source.
Yeah.
And you either put in a PDF, but if you have a whole Google Drive, if you're using Google as your background, if you have a link to your website, you just put in the link here to the website and it accesses the entire website.
The entire website. Okay, thank you.
Or you have just a text that you want to put in, you can put it in here. And you just upload the things that you want to be used inside this document. Does that help, David?
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
Very good. Thank you.
And this is a free application?
As far as I know, I don't know if you can do it if you don't have a regular Google account.
Okay.
You know, I have a Google account and it just happens automatically. I don't know how you register for it if you don't have a Google account.
Okay.
If you do, then it notices right away every time I log in. It says, oh yeah, this is Rhonda. See, this is Rhonda's Google account. And it knows who I am. And so every time I open Notebook LM, it automatically opens to this page on my systems because it knows it's me. So once you set it up, it works very, very well. And as I said, you can add things. And if you say, oh, I'd only like it to look at the websites and not the rest of them, you can just turn these off. Okay. If you don't use them. So you have the choice to decide which of the sources you want to be included. All right. Other questions I can help you with?
Will it do a ChatGPT type of integration where it joins up? You can say, can you give me a summary of this given these sources, and we'll do it a bit like a ChatGPT, but on a reductive set of data, which is the data you put in.
It would also do this. Let me go back to the beginning so I can show you. When you go in, first of all, it gives you a notebooks for you just to look at, so you can learn how it works, number one. But the other thing is when you go into one, it has certain things where you can add them. You can put the notes in and make them a source as well. And down here, you can either view all of the chats, but it also has things that you can do here. So you can make a section, a study guide, a timeline, a table of contents, a briefing. It does the summary automatically.
Fantastic.
I haven't tried yet, but I'm looking forward to is you put this in and you have this generated, and there are two English-speaking voices who have a conversation about what is happening in here.
Oh.
I haven't done it yet, but it has. And I know people are now using this to make their own podcasts.
I've seen people doing that. Yeah.
Voices. Excuse me, Charles, I didn't hear you.
No, I just said I've seen people doing that.
Yeah.
Either this platform or generating podcasts from documents on other platforms.
Yeah. So, but as I said, some of these things are already preset for you if you'd like to use them. And if not, you just go in and you tell it what you want it to do, and it does that automatically and makes it for you.
So just for clarity, and I think I might have seen this too, this deep dive conversation, does it almost give the scripts for both people to run that conversation?
Well, it writes the scripts and it speaks it. Yeah.
Oh, it speaks this as well.
It
Okay.
speaks it, yes.
You'll hear a conversation
You hear a voice
in
in
a
a
very realistic way.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. Is that being developed in any way to put almost video onto it as well?
I just
Where,
point that will be coming.
yeah.
There are lots of other places, as I said, as we go through the various months, I'm learning this with somebody who is showing me all these different things, where to do images, where to do videos, where to make music, all of these things. So every time we have a meeting like this, I'm going to try to bring in things that people are interested in. So I will make a note that in January, we maybe need to have sessions about video. I'm just writing down what people are interested in so we can continue with this. And when I give you the link for the group, you'll be able to go in anytime and write down, or if you say, oh, I saw this, what do you think? You know, you'll be able to go in and share with everyone.
Yeah. Okay. Fantastic.
Can I stop sharing the screen?
Mhm.
Yeah, okay, good. Because what's really important are you gentlemen and not the screen. Okay, have we lost Mark? Oh, he's saying goodbye.
He sent a message saying he knew about Notebook LM.
Good. All right. Wonderful. I have a feeling he's a lot more advanced than probably I am and many of us in the room as well.
I think so. I think I remember our previous conversation.
Okay, very good. So, gentlemen, what do you think now when we're thinking about this and what's happening with the values part of this? When you think about your own values and the work that you're doing and how you're trying to make a bigger impact in the world, what do you think is going to be happening, or what are you still looking for? Like video, I've made a note of for a future session. What are the other things that we need to talk about to make sure that you can make a bigger impact? Because that's what we're here for.
I think one that jumps to mind that's linked to those and linked to, I think, your particular interest when you mentioned about communications. One of the things I'm particularly interested in is storytelling, and storytelling which can be news, but not necessarily news. So, but also storytelling and the veracity of stories. So that I think would be, and that linked to audio conversations in terms of script audio conversations and video material. I'm very much interested because the world runs on stories. Yes. Cultures are passed down through stories, both religious and culturally. It's through verbal, it's been through pictures on cave walls, it's been through dialogues and communications through language. But generally, it's that storytelling that's passed down that creates cultures and can improve cultures. So whereas we see cultures, maybe we think perhaps cultures are starting to lose a bit of their values. I think I'm particularly interested in how we can look at this system, and maybe AI can help us to actually create news stories that actually build back values. Does that make sense? How could we do that? And I find that that's a particular, I mean, I talk about purposeful storytelling. I'm in the business of being purpose-driven. But being purpose-driven means fundamentally it's founded on strong ethics and values. So that means we need to be telling true stories. We don't tell any stories. We check veracity of stories, tell those stories. And those stories have meaning and connect that can help to engage and strengthen our values and culture. So I'm interested in, and I think AI could play a big part in that. And I think we've got to do that because AI, being used by the bad actors, is going to be doing the absolute opposite. Does that make sense? AI will be absolutely out there doing the opposite with misinformation, disinformation, all out there completely. So if we're not getting clever at how we do it with AI to support us to do the opposite, where we build back strong values and veracity of information, you may not always be correct in the veracity of information you presented, but any learning system says if we find that, then we correct it. Now, I believe AI could play and needs to play a big role in this, and I think it would add value to all the works that we're trying to do between us. I don't know whether that's being done, but I'd be very interested in exploring the things in the world of AI and in the world of values and ethics and purposeful practices that are being developed across the world. How we can build those together so we can counter this otherwise negative movement that we're obviously invariably going to see. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. And I know some things that are doing that already. As I said, I'll go into that more deeply. And that's why I said we need to come together and I need to hear what people are interested in because I'm learning all this AI stuff from the gentleman who's teaching Virgin and Richard Branson.
Okay.
So he knows what he's talking about, and if Richard Branson's willing to work with him, then I am too.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so he would be, and then that's the nice thing. I always have a Q&A session every week. I can go in and ask a question if there's nothing else. So I have access to people who really know what's going on, which is a help.
Thank you.
John, what else can we be doing for you today?
Yeah,
half an hour. If you have to leave, I understand that, gentleman, but I'm here for the rest of the hour if you need.
I'm really interested in some of the different applications, right?
Mhm.
Again, I am looking at this from a practical and pragmatic point of view. Again, without kind of impacting negatively on our values. So, some of the stuff that David was saying earlier on, yes, I agree totally with. But it's looking there and said, okay, you know what? This field will develop over the coming years. Let's start to put our toe in the water.
Yes.
And look at some of the more practical applications.
Yes. And I'm definitely into practical because that's all that's important for me in my life. I always say, if you want the theory, go read it somewhere. But if you want to be able to do it, which is why I said we just look at one and see how it works and then be able to give it to people. Gentlemen, Charles has already joined in the chat. Can you check on that link and make sure it opens to a place where you can join my group? Just want to make sure that it works. You don't have to do it now. Just make sure it opens to the right place. Does it give you an option to join a group, John?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Because that's where I'm going to be putting all the information.
Right,
so
fantastic.
There will be, all of these videos will be on a special list on my website or on my YouTube channel. So the links will be in there to all these videos, plus all of these things we've talked about, and all the links to all of the different measures and tools that we look at. The other thing I would put in there is a website that's been going for a couple of years now, at least, that's called There's an AI for That. I will put that in there as well because it keeps adding to it all the time. And I think we're over 20,000 now on that page. So when you go in and you go put in the search window, I'm looking for an AI that does storytelling, it will pull up a whole list of stuff. So no matter what it is that you're looking for, but as I said, I will put all these things in a group because we can then interact within the group. This is something, it's called a Mighty Network. It's like Facebook, but it's private. You won't be getting any spam or anything from here. I pay for this service, so it's safe and you don't have to worry. And only people who are invited into this group will be coming in and having the chance to interact there. So you will be getting all of the updates, and you can all go in and put in updates anytime you'd like as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's just a running system. Since we've only decided to meet once a month, at least at the beginning. If we decide we want to meet more often, we can do that as well. That's what I said. We're doing what the group wants. And your session 2 today, gentlemen. This is premiere day, so thank you very much for coming and joining us as we're getting our feet on the ground here with this and getting going. So really appreciate you being here. Is there anything else I can do for you today? Anything else you need or requests that you have that I can add to my list?
That's great. That's brilliant.
I think you did a really good start, actually. And I like, David, I like the idea of, AI storytelling to generate positive stories, positive material for, to counter, as you say, the inevitable negative. Well, we've already got lots of negativity around AI, and it's going to be the same as with the internet. It's going to be reducing its own negativity. Well, it already is, as we know. Misinformation, false news, and the rest of it. So I love that idea. I think that's a practical use that appeals to me very much.
The other thing that will be in Compolium, gentlemen, is there will be the link to the summit in Geneva from this year, and then the chance to join next year. If you don't want to go and be in person, you can also join online and do it virtually, free of charge. So if you would be interested in that, when I'll put in the link from 24 so you can see what already happened this year. And I'll put in the link where you can join for 25. As I said, either come with me to Geneva or just join online, but you have access to the main stage and you would get to see all of the main talks that are coming up and how they're showing how things work. It's absolutely fascinating. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you for the time. Thank you for
Yes,
today. Looking forward to January. And please do keep in touch.
Okay. Yeah, and as I said, just keep checking in Compolium. If you set up the notifications that once a day you get a message from them, if there's something in there, then you'll see what's going on with all the others as well. Yeah?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Let me know if you need anything. Thank you so much.
Take care.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thanks, Rhonda.
Thank you, Charles.
Right.
Thanks, John.
Yeah, no, I think that's good, Rhonda. We'll trim off these bits, presumably. Will someone trim
Mark
off
will
these?
do that. Yeah.
But I thought that was good contribution. I think you know, the storytelling, both inputs from John and David were good. I think I guess Mark may have looked at it and felt you know, he knows all this.
Yeah.
He may not come back, I guess, or he may. I don't know.
Well, because he wasn't on the registration list that you
Yeah,
sent.
yeah, but you'll have another one like him, or may have. He may be more technical. I'm not sure. Yeah, actually, technical in terms of having a capability as well as being a consumer. As what's his name this afternoon? Is the other one? Sorry, his name's just dropped off my memory. Yeah, Arthur Jones. Who's done a lot of work, and I mentioned to you, you know, with coaching apps as well. So I think this is probably quite a big thing, the coaching app, to write off, because you know, it's by the sound of it, they've been around for a year or two already.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm going to pull up Marshall's again to put in Compolium so people can go and look at it, because I heard this from Marshall about 2 years ago. So he's been doing this a long time. Yeah. And Marshall Goldsmith is one of the top 100 coaches in the world. So he is somebody that people really, really want to pick his brain. And I've been a part of an institution where he was always coming in and giving talks. It was a global coaching organization that I facilitated for. And I've heard Marshall speak a number of times. And therefore, he's one of those people who, when the first time he mentioned this, we were all sitting there and looking, you know, like deer in headlights kind of things. But now it's becoming very normal. And I know lots of people who actually know how to do this as well. So for me to sit down and do that would not be a problem. It's not something I'm interested in, because I don't see myself as the guru and doing, I'm in the co-creation business and I do things very spontaneously. But for people who are into that, and saying, I know all the answers to your questions, and here you can go in and talk to my AI, you know, for them, that's wonderful. And I think that's a huge help if you want to reach out to a lot of people. It's just not the way that my life works and what I'm interested in. But for those who want it, it's a wonderful opportunity.
Well, I can see how, you know, it might fit into a set of tools that people might have in their toolbox.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wonderful.
So,
well, then I'll see you again later this evening.
Yeah, we've got so we got about we got how many is that? 7 people booked in, which is
Well, I'm sure that's the Americans.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong. Sorry, I picked up the wrong.
This
list.
is the Americas group.
So we've got we've got 6. Sorry, 6, not 7.
Yeah.
I know only Arthur. Oh, actually, there's one from the one from the UK, Lindsay, who's a coach, a life coach, and an old colleague of mine.
Lindsay was one of the people inside the groups that we did on the 17th who really.
Yes, I remember her mentioning that she'd been to it. And Arthur, I mentioned, who I've only met once and had a longish chat with about a year ago. The others I don't know, but we'll find out. I don't think I know anyway.
I may know Stephen Kirsch. I'm not sure. The name sounds familiar, but maybe it's another Kirsch. I'm not sure. But the others I don't know, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah.
I say that, and then it turns out that I'm connected. I've been rather promiscuously accumulating connection, you know, just for the purpose of World Values Day.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Year or so. I never took LinkedIn that seriously before, but but I'm afraid I connect to people I don't really know.
No, but I mean, if people find out from you, you know, about
then of course,
I mean, that's what we're here for.
I can see a person value.
Yeah, and I don't have a problem if somebody like Mark leaves because he says it's not the right thing for him. I mean, we just have, this isn't, you know, something that's being set up, and we will see whom it's right for and whom it's not. That's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. Then I'll see you again in a few hours.
Lovely.
Okay, thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.